And I will now pass it over to our presenter, Kia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, hopefully. Can you all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. I'm Kia Quintana. I am the Senior Health Educator over here at the Department of Health. And just a few housekeeping items. Feel free to stop me and ask any questions. I don't mind at all. You can also put your questions in the chat. I'll take a look at them. And you can also use the option to raise your hand or just unmute yourself. That's perfectly fine. I've also put a survey link in the chat box. If you could please take that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. It's super quick. So if you all could do that, I would love it. So let's get started. Today, we're going to be talking about energy density, what it is. And this is a tool that will hopefully be really beneficial for all of you. It's particularly helpful for those who are either trying to lose weight or just want to maintain their weight. So hopefully you'll get something out of this and it'll help you out. Okay. So what is energy density? So energy density is the amount of energy or calories in a particular weight of food, or the number of calories in a gram. So it's just basically considering the volume of the food. What we want is to eat foods with low energy density. So that provides fewer calories per gram than foods with higher energy density. So the goal is that for the same number of calories, a person can consume a larger portion of food, lower in energy density than a food higher in energy density. So you can eat more, feel full compared to higher energy density foods. So how does it work? Energy density values are influenced by the composition of food. So water lowers the energy density of foods because water has an energy density of 0. Fiber also has low energy density and helps lower energy density. On the other hand, fat is the most energy dense component of food. It provides more than twice as many calories per gram as carbohydrates or protein. So just keep that in mind. So in general, foods with a lower energy density tend to be foods with either high water content, lots of fiber, or little fat, while high fat foods have high energy density. Increasing the water content of foods lowers the energy density of all foods, even those high in fat. So for example, let's say you're eating, we'll just take something simple as like chicken. If you, instead of having just plain chicken with whatever it is you're having, and you have chicken noodle soup, well, that chicken noodle soup will have a lower energy density. So our goal is to eat foods with an energy density of 2 or lower. So I'm going to teach you how to calculate energy density. So basically what you're gonna do is divide the number of calories per serving by the number of grams per serving. So here are some examples. For example, you're eating something that's 100 calories, but it's 110 grams per serving. The energy density is going to be 0.9. So that's good. It's lower than 2. On the other hand, an energy density of, or if you're having food that's 230 calories and is only 45 grams, the energy density is 5.1, which is way higher than what we're looking for. And I know you're like, Kia, I don't feel like calculating, do math just to be able to eat. So as a rule of thumb, if the calories per serving are less than the grams per serving, it will be lower energy density. So you're looking for a lot of grams. That's what you want. So just keep in mind that you want to be looking at your nutrition facts, your nutrition label, and that you're focusing on the per serving amount and not the full serving amount or the full bag or whatever you're eating. All right, so here are some examples. This is just a little graphic of, what's considered low energy density food compared to high energy density food. So obviously in the very low, we have our vegetables, soups. In between, we have just some, cereal, chicken, etc. And then on the opposite end is things we know that are going to be not that good for you. So chocolate, fries. Unfortunately, cheese is really high in energy density. So that's just giving you an idea. One caveat that I do have is that the examples that are shown here are cooked a certain way. So the minute you change what you're cooking or you add anything to it, so let's say you're eating like a salad, if you add a lot of dressing, and depending on what type of dressing you add, that energy density is going to go up. So ideally, you want to limit your condiments that you're adding to your food. And obviously, if you fry your food, you're adding fat to your food. So then that's also going to increase your energy density. So just keep that in mind. All right. So how can it help you? So studies have found that energy density is helpful in eating less calories and feeling full in the process. So I think one of the biggest challenges that people have when they're trying to either eat healthier or if they go on a diet is that, they're always feeling hungry. And then that constant feeling of hungry just decreases our motivation. So this can really help with that. In the long term, it is helpful in maintaining body weight. And studies indicate that people consuming a lower energy dense diet eat a balanced diet by making specific choices within each food group, generally choosing foods that are low fat, are dense in micronutrients, or have high water content. So the idea is that even though you're eating less, because especially if you're calorie counting, you're still getting all the nutrients that you need. And as a result of eating better nutrients, of losing weight, it leads to better overall health, particularly if you have any chronic diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes. Well, if you lose weight, that will help all of those, which is what we want. So I'm going to give you some strategies to lower energy density. There's just really simple, easy ways for you to lower energy density and just eat better. So to start, you start with what you already eat. And what I mean by that is give yourself time to adjust to this pattern of eating. Like, don't go crazy buying like all these vegetables, all these healthy things. Start with what you already eat. So if you're a meal planner and you already know what you're going to eat, then start with that. Maybe change the way you're cooking. So maybe instead of frying, you're going to bake it. You can also use the air fryer. Small changes like that to start with, just until you get used to figuring out what energy density is. The other thing you can do is lower the energy density of frequently consumed foods. So what you want to do is avoid adding fat and sugar to your meals. So like I said, consider the way you're cooking things. So you want to avoid things like frying. You want to either like bake or you can stir fry. You have a lot of options. In terms of adding sugar, well, things like adding condiments, those unbelievably have a high sugar content, things like ketchup, your dressings. So just keep that in mind. Either switch to a dressing that has less fat, less sugar, or maybe choose like a vinaigrette. Those are always a better option. You can also make soups. Those will lower the energy density. So instead of, I don't know, having a chicken dinner, you have chicken noodle soup. Add veggies to whatever it is you're making. If you are making lasagna, then add some veggies in there. That will automatically lower the energy density. So there are certain ways that you can lower energy density, and that is adding water, adding fiber, and the last one is adding air, which sounds really weird, but think about whipping air into things. So things like making a smoothie, or if you're making scrambled eggs where you're like whipping the eggs, that's adding air to it. So that will lower the energy density as well. So instead of eating like sunny side up eggs, eat scrambled eggs. That is a better option. The next thing is to substitute foods with high energy density with those with low energy density. So it can be simple things. So maybe instead of eating chips, you eat something like popcorn, or instead of eating ground beef, you switch to ground turkey or ground chicken. That will also lower the energy density. Like I said, you want to prepare foods without excess fats and sugars. So just consider the way you're cooking things. Avoid frying, avoid sweeteners. If you want a healthier option, try something like honey or agave. That's always going to be a better option. The next thing is to avoid large portions of high energy. We want to be realistic when we're doing this, and it's not always possible to always eat low energy density foods. It's just not realistic, and you don't want to limit yourself or not enjoy the process because you're able to eat what you want. So what you can do is just limit the amount of high energy foods you eat. So one way of doing this is just looking at the serving size. I think most of us are unaware of how much we're eating. So for example, we think like half a cup is a lot smaller than what it is, when in reality, we're just eating a lot more. So really take time to look at those serving sizes. If you need to measure things out just so that you know what it is, that's always an option. If you're eating out, then maybe only eat half of your food and take the rest home. Just really focus on portion sizes. I think that's a really important thing. That way you don't feel like you're limited in your eating choices. You can still eat what you want. I don't want you to feel like you can't eat anything, because in reality you can. So maybe you focus on your lower energy density foods at breakfast and at dinner. But if you're going to go out to lunch during your work because that's your only option, that's fine. Then just limit the portion, either cut it in half and save it for later, or just, get a kid's meal instead of like the adult version, quote unquote. The next thing is to choose meats and cheeses low in fat. So unfortunately, as much as we love cheese, it is one of the highest energy density foods that we have. So either choose the low fat option if it's available to you, or just use it sparingly. Maybe don't add that much to your lasagna. That's always an option. When in terms of meats, choosing things like chicken, turkey are going to be lower in fat. But if you want to eat those red meats, not a problem. Just try to cut off all the fat possible, or just change the way you may cook it. I'll, grill it, bake it, whatever it is. The next thing is to start with a low energy appetizer. So this is particularly true if you're eating out. Either start with a salad or maybe a soup. That's always gonna fill you up. Just keep in mind that you want to choose a healthy soup or salad. Like, you don't want to be choosing like a broccoli cheddar soup, because even though that's a little bit lower in energy, it still has a ton of cheese and a ton of fat. So just keep that in mind. And also be careful with your salads, especially when eating at restaurants. Those salads can be like 1,000 calories, something ridiculous like that. So just keep in mind. And a lot, if not most places, will give you the calories per serving. So just take a look at the menu before ordering. The next thing is to have low energy foods readily available. So if it's available, if it's next to you, you're more likely to grab it than not. The opposite holds true. If you don't buy high energy density foods, then you're less likely to eat high energy density foods. So if you know, like, your kryptonite is chips, then try to not have it at your house or not have it at your job. Have another option like popcorn or something like that. The next thing is to choose water or low calorie drinks. I want to debunk a myth while we're having this conversation, and it is that drinking water stops hunger. Like, if you drink a bottle of water before you eat your meal, you're not going to be as hungry. That is not true. Studies have found that you're still just as hungry. The only thing choosing water really helps is with staying hydrated, and then just not adding more calories to your daily calorie count. And the last and most important thing is to pay attention to your hunger. Really be mindful and really take the time to see if you're truly hungry. I feel like a lot of the times we either eat out of boredom, out of habit, because it's right in front of you, because we don't want to have any leftovers, that kind of thing. So we're eating more than our body wants, and then our body gets used to eating a lot. So take time after you eat to see if you were really hungry, or if maybe you were eating because of those reasons, either boredom, maybe you were emotional that day and you needed that extra chocolate. That's fine, but just be aware of why you're eating. And then also, if you're, let's say, like, you eat a meal and then you want to grab seconds because you think you're hungry, just wait a few minutes before you grab that second, or if you grab a snack, because it takes time for your stomach to signal to your brain that you're not hungry anymore. So wait at least like 15-20 minutes to see if you're really hungry. And then if you're still hungry, then by all means, grab that second plate. But really take time and be aware of your state of hunger. And then finally, just give yourself time to adjust if you are going to start this lower energy density thing. It takes time for your body to adjust. It might feel like you're starving the first few days, even though the idea with this is that you feel full with the foods that you're going to be eating. But it just takes a while for your body to adjust. It also takes a while for you to learn this process. Like, you can't want immediate changes as much as we would love that. It just give yourself time, be generous with yourself. because it does take a while to adjust to this process and just to learn and to figure out what are the best foods for you. And make sure to grab foods that you like. I don't want you to, for example, if you're not a vegetable person, there's a lot of us out there, then, and you're more of a fruit person, then by all means, choose fruits instead of veggies and slowly incorporate the vegetables into your process. So just give yourself time and just grab food that you're really gonna enjoy and you're gonna love, because that's gonna make it way easier for you in this process. So I believe that's it for me. Do you guys have any questions that I can answer for you?
I don't have a question. It's great information. I think it would take me some time to go over it again, because like you said, it's like going to the store and having to calculate. I just would love something that would tell me, no, don't buy this, you know?
Yeah.
But
So for that, there's a lot of like if you go online, there's a lot of videos and little charts that will tell you, you know, eat this and not that kind of a thing. I know if you're looking for a specific program, Noom does this specifically. They use energy density. And so when you, they use a process of green, yellow, and red, right? So red foods you want to limit, yellow foods are okay, you want a lot of green. And you would basically just journal in, type in what you're eating each day, and then you know what's green, what's yellow, what's red. So there are options for that. It does take a little bit of adjusting, but like I said, when you grab something, just look at the number of calories and the number of grams per serving. If the number of grams is more than the number of calories, then you're usually good to go.
so you
There's a
want the
few
number
little-
of grams to be higher.
Yes, you want your grams to be higher than the number of calories, because that automatically means that the energy density is going to be lower. Because I know I don't have time to like pull out the calculator and divide and do all that. So
Cool.
that's just a general rule of thumb.
And what was the other thing you had said? You had mentioned, I think, a website or something? Noom?
So like if you were wanting to do like a weight loss program, Noom, Noom uses this program. So they use energy density to help you see which foods to eat and which ones not to. They have a free option, but they also have like a paid option as well. So just
Okay, thank you.
you're
There's
welcome.
a few little catchy phrases that are fun to that help you remember too, especially when you're in the grocery store, such as if you can't read it, don't eat it. Stay away from the processed foods, and the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. So I when I'm shopping for bread, I remember that. So I don't go, I try to go for the multigrain.
Thank you. Mhm.
You're welcome. All right. So that is it for me. If you all have any questions, here's my contact information. Feel free to email me, call me at any time. I'm always available. And then as a reminder, if you could just take that survey for me that's in the chat box, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording, and then I will